Have you ever felt like your life is a series of twists and turns? You're not quite sure how it all fits together. Or maybe you've thought, what's the bigger picture? How do I fit into this world? How has my journey unfolded? Where is spirit in the everyday? So here's the thing, our lives are one long spiritual journey, and our stories are not just a collection of random moments. There's actually a map behind it. This map shows us where we've been, where we are now, and where we're headed. So today I want to talk to you about why your spiritual story matters and how you can create your own story, even as a map of your life, to help you connect with really learning who you are and helping you decide what's next. And I'll share a little bit about my own journey as well. So join me as we take a little journey to a spiritual life map. So a spiritual life map is a tool that helps us see a bigger picture of our journey. Think of it as a way to chart pivotal moments, challenges, and insights that have shaped who you are today, and also your relationship with spirit and your spirituality. So it's not about just where you've been or events you've had in your life. It's also about looking at the themes and the lessons along the way. Perhaps ones that keep showing up, perhaps ones we've navigated through and made changes as a result of, almost like signposts. There's gifts, there's pitfalls, but we look at it from an energy perspective, from a spiritual perspective. So by doing this, we're not just reflecting, we're actually giving ourselves a guide to understand who we are, how we've gotten to where we are, and where we're going next. So let me share a bit of my own map with you. So for over 40 years, I did work in the corporate world. Um, I was successful. I had a successful career, many different organizations, worked with great people, and I thought I was successful from that perspective, but I really knew deep down that something was missing. I really couldn't really shake that feeling that I wasn't living fully into who I was meant to be. So about 25 to 30 years into that career, I undertook an exploration, figuring out who I was and looking at my life up to that point to see how my spirituality had unfolded and how I had, quite honestly, put it on the shelf for a long time. But I did have a major turning point in my life when, more than 10 years ago, I had a situation where I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It really made me rethink where I was. And it was time to reevaluate the next phase of my life. So as I started down this exploration and 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 got involved in many different modalities and techniques and such, I noticed that there were definitely themes in my life. Um, I was I'm blessed with a sense of resilience that brought me through situations in my life, such as divorce and financial problems and breast cancer and all those things. But I also have always been, since a child, very intuitive and very creative. And that was something that just was who I was. Didn't quite know what it was. I didn't necessarily see it as spiritual until later in my life. But as I look back, I realize that I had created a life that brought me to this point where I became an interfaith minister, crystal dreaming teacher, trained in various different modalities. And I also decided that this was the life of service to others that I wanted to be in. Very different from a 40-year corporate IT career. So when I look back on that, I see how every step, every decision, even the ones that were difficult, were part of something bigger, all leading me to where I am today, connecting the dots and finding meaning in it all. So, why am I sharing this? And why does it matter? You know, your story matters because it's uniquely yours. My story is mine. It doesn't have to be dramatic. And you may not think it's inspirational, but even the smallest moments, and the ones you might even overlook, can carry profound lessons and insights and be inspiring to others. So when you map out your journey, you'll start to notice patterns that repeat themselves, challenges that helped you grow, moments of clarity, perhaps moments of spiritual awakening that shifted your perspective. And all of that can inspire others. So however you share your story, whether it's through words and storytelling or art, or even just informing the way you show up every day, that's all creates connection. It helps others see the possibilities in their own lives. So when we honor our own lives, our own spiritual maps, we see those threads that are woven through. We see the themes. We see the choices we've made. We're also contributing to the collective wisdom of humanity because our stories are part of something that is so much bigger. So how do you do this? How do you start? The easiest way to start is to just identify some key moments in your life. Moments, and ask yourself, where was spirit? Where was the universe? Where was God? How did that all inform me? And remember that there's no good or bad in any of this. They're just our choices that we've made. For example, I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school all the way through college, never felt totally aligned with Catholicism as a religion. And because of that, where it really didn't feel in alignment with me, my recollection is not necessarily positive of my experiences. And I really stayed away from organized religion for a very long time. And now I consider myself spiritual, but I do not align with a religion. I am an interfaith, interspiritual minister. So how did that inform me, though? There was a kind of an underlying fear and an underlying perhaps distrust in there that kept me away, right? But I always relied on my intuition. I didn't quite know what it was. Now I have a better sense that my intuition is a connection to something bigger. But if I look back on the next step, which is looking for themes or patterns in your life, my intuition always led me to the right step. I always followed my intuition. So as you map these points out in your life, mark those turning points. Mark those choices that you made, where your path may have shifted. Take notice of what brought you new clarity or direction. Perhaps it was somebody you met, conversation that you had. Perhaps it was something unexpected and something perhaps devastating to you in the time, but it totally shifted your direction. And then consider where you are now and how that might lead, where that might lead you next. What is calling you now, right? Where is all of this that you've experienced leading you up to? This can be a story that you write. It can be a recording that you make. It can be a picture that you draw. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can even do it as part of just a daily journaling practice. So I invite you to take this time, take your time with it and let it unfold naturally. And comment below on if you do this practice, or if you could even just take a moment and think of one thing in your life that was transformative, a moment that that really changed how you see your place in the world. I would love to hear. So I invite you, if you enjoyed this, to like and subscribe. Um, as I'll be sharing more about spiritual journeys that we're all on. And remember that your story is the map to your own soul's journey, and it does matter. It matters more than you probably realize. So thank you for being here. Until next time.